There we go.
Got it.
Judy, hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you
Or
for your
afternoon,
guidance.
depending on where you are. Hello.
That's true. Yes. Thank you for your guidance. I really do appreciate the clarity that it brought me. And
It was getting too complicated.
it was.
Just pick up the bloody book. It's really simple. You know?
Exactly.
I mean,
Yes. Right. So I figured we'll take it in little bite-sized morsels. Yeah, that would be it. Yes. Very good. Okay. The manual for teachers is itself a bite-sized morsel compared to the rest of the course. But what I thought we would do is we would start with a meditation on the first part of trust, which is the trust itself is the first characteristic of God's teachers. And then it itself in that section is divided up into 6 sections called periods. And the first period is called a period of undoing. So
Good.
I thought, well, what I would do is I would just start by contemplating what that means, what it means to undo, and how that is going to help facilitate the storefront. There must be a better way. So how do I begin by undoing? What does that mean? So the in the course, in the manual for teachers, it says the first period is the period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it usually is so experienced. It seems as if the things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. In other words, I'm not having things removed from me. I'm just realizing, or I just come to the realization that these things that apparently are being taken away just are not valuable anymore to me. They're not serving the function that I want to do, which is realize there must be a better way. How could lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? And there's the different light. There must be a better way. The different light. He is not yet at a point at which he can make the shift entirely internally. And so the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. And this would be a removal of needs in the external world. I need to have this person change. I need to have this person be something other than what I think they are. I need to have this block removed by this other person. It's not me, but the idea is to realize that it is me, that I'm the only one who can remove this block to the presence of love. These changes are always helpful. When the teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the second stage. So if I can focus on my own self, on something that I would like to see in a different way, there must be a better way, to look at that in how I am standing in the way of seeing that. How am I being the obstacle to that peace? All right. So let's just take a couple of minutes, take a deep breath. And begin by looking at myself and the blocks to the presence of love's awareness that I am standing in the way of, and how I myself can remove those obstacles. This is from lesson 357. Forgiveness, truth's reflection tells me how to offer miracles and thus escape the prison house in which I think I live. Your Holy Son is pointed out to me first in my brother, then in me. Your voice instructs me patiently to hear your word and give as I receive. And as I look upon your Son today, I hear your voice instructing me to find the way to you. So appointed that way shall be. Behold his sinlessness and be you healed. So in the idea of I look upon my brother in sinlessness, and in that way, I am healed of my own idea of being the block to the awareness of love's presence. Hold my brother in love, and I will in turn be able to hold myself in love as well. So how do I see myself in a way that allows me to surrender the ideas that I am a prisoner, that I need to hold myself accountable for something instead of just surrendering? How do I become the undoing? How do I allow the undoing to happen? It says here that it is, how can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? Where is that light? How do I see the light? How do I see the things in the different light? To acknowledge the idea that I am truly the source of my own problem, and then forgiving myself for that. Any thoughts, anyone?
While we were meditating, there was just one word that came into my mind, and of course, I'm much of a doer. I've always been a nurturer, and active, and the only thing that came through to me, like say the little voice that happens, was one word, and that was allow, and that is a big thing for me. You could say surrender or disappear or whatever, but allowing is the hardest thing for me, and that's what came to me. Allow, be still, and that's my biggest challenge. So,
Let go and let God.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the thesis of this first paragraph is a period of undoing. And so we've got all these, Judy had a wonderful metaphor for the idea of, I use the idea of tying my shoes and getting the laces in a knot and not being able to untie them. And Judy said, well, stop using shoelaces, get Velcro instead. And Velcro that's a lot easier way. It still requires a letting go. The Velcro needs to let go of itself to be able to open, but it's a lot easier than trying to untie that stupid knot that I keep getting. You pull it one way and it pulls the lace through the wrong way, and then it makes the knot harder, and I forget it. So Velcro. Yeah,
like
Judy, go ahead.
slip-ons.
So slip-ons even better. Yes. Unfortunately, I have a situation with my foot that I have to have something that binds around the foot.
But not in your spiritual program.
Right. So slip on, usually Holy Spirit, slip on.
But still, we know these things, and we still get caught up in this right here.
Mm-hmm.
And how to overlook thinking when it is so highly valued in our culture, and how I have come to define myself. This, I think, humor for me comes to mind for me, that is, and I don't mean laughing at myself, but I mean just seeing the ridiculousness and just having humor about it helps me step aside from my ego easier than trying to think my way out of it. But sometimes nothing looks funny. That's the undoing, perhaps, and to welcome it. Welcome it. Yes.
Welcome.
That's good.
Shar,
Virginia, any thoughts?
Well, just letting go of what you think is and focus on reality. So often we get tangled up in this objective world and thinking everything depends on circumstances.
Say that again. Everything depends on what?
On our outer circumstances, but we have to do the pause and realize this is not reality. This is just a place to practice returning to reality.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it. I hadn't thought of it that way before. This is how we practice, where we can practice getting back to God, which is where we are anyway. But in the process of, or in the procedure of getting the client, and I am my own client at this moment, getting my own client to understand that there is a better way and how to find that better way and realize that better way. The first thing I need to do is to realize that what I am being asked to give up has nothing to do with anything but myself. I'm not giving away money. I'm not giving away a car. I'm not giving up my house. I'm not even giving up a sandwich. I'm just giving up the idea that I have nothing to give up. that there's nothing here that I truly need. What does it say? How can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? So everything that I perceive here in this world that I have asked to come and be the teacher for me, the lesson I'm here to learn is that there's no value here, that I don't need any of this to understand the true value of myself, which is the perfectly created child of God.
What comes to mind when you're speaking is judgments, that I need to set aside my judgment of how my sandwich tastes, of how a friend is behaving,
right,
of how I'm responding.
right.
And you know, that being in the moment, it's autumn, reveling in the color of a leaf instead of trying to untangle my obsessions would be time well spent, an absence of thought.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Right.
Hi there.
Welcome.
And Brenda is here. Hi, Brenda.
Brenda, too. Hello. We're growing.
Hi,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes. So we are looking at a way to let go of the current circumstance that I perceive myself in, so that I can make room for a new circumstance, a new way of understanding, a new way of being present in myself. Danny, what we're doing here is we're treating ourselves as our own client. I'm treating myself as the person who has walked into the office and said there must be a better way. So how do I do that? And by doing that, we're taking the first period. You pointed out there are 6 periods in trust. The first period is the period of undoing or letting go. And so by having an idea that what it is that I'm perceiving as being the problem is actually within my own self. It is not anywhere else. It's not outside of myself. The problem, I am here to learn my own lesson. And by doing that, I can then turn around and the more successful I am, I can then turn around and be more successful as the proprietor of There Must Be a Better Way. So this is kind of where we have been so far with the meeting. Brenda, are you going to join us? Or you're just going to observe? Just gonna be there. Shar, how about you? You've got the Kilroy was here. There you are. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Any thoughts, Shar?
Well, I was going to say something about the laughter, which is what you had asked me.
Laughter
is always the best medicine. And the couple things I always say is, if you want to give God a laugh, plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the other
Right.
one that I like is, sometimes if things are going bad, I just say, that's a good one, ego. Ha, ha, ha. One way to get rid of ego is to laugh at it. And all the things that are kind of going wrong in our life and the insanity is just got to say, hey, it isn't real. And you're doing a good job at trying to scare me.
Right.
You know.
But the idea, interesting point, that the idea of the ego is taking responsibility for that. That's not something that's external to me. That's not something I can blame on someone else. I am the house, not the home, but the house of my own ego. And I give that ego a place to sleep. I give that ego a place to eat, a place to travel to, a place to learn, a place to breathe. And the more I give that ego a place to do all those things, the more ingrained it is, and the more I have trouble pulling it out of the equation of there must be a better way. by
What do
being,
you do when you find yourself in that quandary of the ego speaking louder? How do you personally turn it around?
I treat the ego like it truly is the little critter, this big.
A little critter. Okay.
The little critter. It is no longer a big thing. It is no longer, when I look in the mirror, I don't see ego. I see the house that the ego lives in, but then I just start making the available floor space smaller and smaller and smaller until it is literally, the little critter is this big. I've heard the idea passed around many times in the last week or so that we make our ego as big as we want it to be. And so therefore, we can make the ego as little as we want it to be. And by giving the ego less power, we
Has
give
no
more
power.
room to the idea of spirit instead, of a spirit inhabiting that space that the ego once had inhabited. So instead of giving the ego a mansion of 1,000 rooms, it's now living in a little tiny place in the corner of my mind, and it doesn't realize it's got a reduced floor space. The ego doesn't know that. All it knows is that it's still got a place. It's still existing, and as long as it's still existing, it's going to be happy. But because I foresee it as being this tiny, I have given it less and less power, and therefore that is the letting go, that is the undoing that this first period in Manual of Teachers is talking about in trust. Undoing the power of the ego by undoing it in my own mind.
The ego has no power. It's only the power we give it.
Exactly. And that's why it is up to me to reduce that power, reduce that floor space, reduce that square footage that the ego is existing in, and understanding that if it looks like it's trying to expand a little bit, I just go, that is not worthy of the Son of God. That's my mantra. That is not worthy of the Son of God.
Reminds me of what James said this week about the ego being like a 2-year-old child, and then if that 2-year-old child was screaming to drive the car, he would say no, and buckle up in the car seat, and off we go, or buckle them in, and off we go. And no matter the screaming, it just isn't going to happen. I like to think that I have overburdened my ego, given it too much responsibility. I've worn it out. It's frazzled. And I think it likes the idea of its small little compartment, its little suite all by itself where it rules. And it has an important function. And the Course tells me that the ego will only be absorbed and reprogrammed. It's a valuable part, and it gets a bad reputation. And so I think giving it a suite where it has its little suite, where it has its safe spot. It doesn't have to flare to say, look at me, look at me. No, we know you're there, darling, and we give you toys and love you.
Right. Exactly.
Stay out of my way, though. Please.
And that's the problem, is that a lot of times the ego is treated like this big bad boogie monster.
Yeah.
And the only thing that does is that gives the ego the power of a big bad boogie monster.
Yeah.
And so by reducing our own idea of what our ego is, and reducing our own idea of how the ego interacts with the outer world, I reduce its effect on the way that I treat the outer world, interact with the outer world. I no longer have to worry about the ego's version of things. I am now able to go from spirit and accept the world that I see around me with love instead of with fear, because that's the ego. The only way the ego can view the outside world is with fear.
That same image changes when I look upon it with love, that same image changes.
Yep. The world doesn't seem to have changed, but the way that I perceive the world has changed.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we remove the obstacles to the presence of love. We remove we take that obstacle, move it off to the side, shove it over the cliff, whatever image you want to have for that, you end up with a free and open field that we can run and play in, with beautiful flowers growing and butterflies flying and birds chirping and cats petting and hello. I don't know if you can see my cat is right here on the bed right here. Right there. That's
What's
Oreo.
your kitty's name?
Oreo.
Oreo, like
Actually, Oreo is that's the house cat. It's not my personal cat, but Oreo
It's on your
seems to
bed.
like, yeah, well, yes, so therefore it's my cat, right? But
Or you're his Baraka.
and well trained too. Yes, exactly. Oh, look at that! Look at that face! Look at that! Oh, it's a puss! It's a puss!
Baraka,
Hi,
This
Danny.
gets my ego. Being around mammals moves my ego into a quiet spot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Danny, what's going on?
well, I want to share, first of all, some things, but one thing I noticed that Brenda wrote in the chat
Oh.
that she's just listening.
I
So
got it. Okay,
she
no
wrote-
problem. No problem, Brenda. You got it. You're on the team.
What I wanted to share, one thing came to my mind after and before I received your beautiful letter, where you described how you started doing slow down
Yeah.
after you got the stroke, and the slowing down and the amazing gift that was in it. And that's probably also the time when you had this place where you shared that you didn't want to come back. And out of that, and then you saw this storefront. There must be a better way. And you did not know what to do. And then someone is suggesting, well, let's have Zoom meetings. And then here we are,
Here we are.
So this is how the Holy Spirit or God, works in the world. The ego doesn't actually exist and does nothing. But what came to me, because I happened to go through some very difficult emotional states that like I experienced for probably from the age 14, and I the last 3 nights I didn't sleep at all. I truly didn't sleep. I because something shifted in my consciousness and was connected very much with what we are doing here. And I had a beautiful insight about the store and what are the customers, what can the customers buy? And you actually expressed it in the past in your writing, but it made me, I feel that I'm the store, you are the store manager, and I play the role of the assistant. And every one of us plays different roles. It just a game, in the imaginary world, that we live in, because there is only love and truth, but we perceive this world. But so what is it that got me out of this, out of this very, very powerful dark time that
The funk.
what gave me, and that is how it's connected to this, and this is how it's connected to everyone here. And especially Caroline is not here today, right? She used to come every Saturday.
Yeah, she's got a meeting that she's involved with this week, so she won't be able to come.
Well, Caroline is a wonderful example, because in one of the meetings, maybe 2 weeks ago, you asked Caroline, would you like to share something? And then some beautiful things came out from Caroline. She sang a song, and we recorded it actually. I mean, it's still, we sent it to the mailing list. Well, that's the gift in the store. Everyone in the world, every human being wants actually to give. And if we allow them to express themselves, the real self, through this imaginary store, then that person will start realizing who they really are and become happy. And the thing that I was thinking on a very practical level, of how, because I am a little familiar with what's going on, like about Vicky, and about Marianne, especially. Those are the two people that I know, a little bit, besides you, and but there are many others. Everyone, in fact, everyone. I'm thinking about Jackie right now. How about that we allow those customers, which is we are the customers, we'll find ways, and that's what you have been doing, by the way, all the time. But I'm just, as your assistant, I'm just putting it into practical terms. Like one very practical thing is that I bought, you bought a domain name, but nothing came out of it. And then I decided this week when, in the middle of the night, I bought a domain name and I made something out of it, something that works, and everybody can edit it. And it's simply called I am the letters. There must be a better way. .org rather than .com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I found out that people are afraid to express themselves because they believe that they are the ego. They don't realize the amazing treasure that they are. But when they start expressing their soul, like Caroline did, everybody was moved, and she was moved. So, for example, Vicky, like her words are so comforting. There's so much. Does anyone ever like record her or something like that, or no?
Well, the recording for the Namaste sessions.
Oh, that's a beautiful way. So we
Yeah.
can go to the Namaste sessions, and I the assistant, those are in YouTube. So it's very easy to take those recordings out. And then maybe volunteers. Here is the thing. If people agree with this idea, then different people play different roles. So for example, someone could simply go through those YouTubes and figure out where is the time in the YouTube, because when you play YouTube, there's always a time that is worth recording. maybe it's not Vicky, maybe it's somebody else, you know.
Mhm.
So that's basically my practical idea that I wanted to share today, you know.
Eric, how are you?
Well, as the owner of the store and you being my manager, I assign that task to you. All right. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. And I don't know if I have the brain power to be able to do that. But I do know that there is that just the mere fact that you have expressed this idea means that you are willing to own it.
Absolutely, I'm willing to do it, but the question is, as the store owner, uh, would you be able to find some volunteers or workers for the store? Like, for example, the store has many other different roles, you know, like one of the roles that really is needed is to find the actual places of those recordings.
Well, they're on Jimmy's YouTube channel,
Right. But
and then but
you are the store owner, you're very busy, but maybe you can assign or ask whoever wants to find those recordings.
Sounds like you're the one that's volunteering for the job.
that's right, Danny. It's all you.
You
Okay.
want it?
It's
Yeah.
all you. Absolutely. Yes. This is what has kept you up the last couple of nights. Is your
Have to allow it.
edging up to the idea that you're going to own this.
It hasn't happened yet, and I was thinking about Nancy, and I was like, well, how
All right.
she went through.
Okay.
Okay. Good. And I will. My task that I've been willing to perform in this whole thing is to set up the Zoom call and to plan an idea around each week's discussion and then let it flow, because I trust in all of my mighty companions that whatever is going on here, each of us is going to perform the function that Holy Spirit has assigned to us, whatever that is. And by remaining open to the idea of that Holy Spirit is going to assign us a task, is going to give us a job description, this is how we're going to find the better way. There must be a better way. By being open to the idea that I am an employee of Holy Spirit.
No.
That's how I see myself. And that's how I'm going to, as long as I keep listening for that job description and keep listening for those assignments and doing what I see myself as being willing to do, ready to do, I'm going to do that in the best way possible. And everyone else, the same thing. Listen to Holy Spirit. See what is it that I am hearing that I can do to make this a better way, to make the idea of there must be a better way work. This idea sat dormant for like 2 years before someone else, excuse me, was able to reach out to me and trigger me and make me understand that I had a job to do. And this is the job that I heard myself doing. It was in the dream. But it wasn't until I was willing to accept that idea of the dream, that as my job description, that I was able to step forward and actually do it myself. I don't like this. I normally, this is not something I would normally do, but I am driven, I am led, I am by the ring in my nose, I am being led to do this. Because I see this as being my job description. And as soon as I see it as being my job description, I've always done this all my life. As soon as I see, that's my job, then I got to do it. I have to do it. So let's go back and look at this first section
I have
again.
a question first. I have
Yes,
a question
please.
for Danny. I'm wondering, Danny, what it is you think you'll be finding in these YouTubes that you don't already know in your heart.
I think that that is the best thing we can do. And what I think is, I don't like the word hope because that means that, something's wrong. I just think that surrender and dissolve.
Let- ho-
What w- when I became an instrument of another person, her name is, by the way, Amber Spirit Horse. She's also part of our group. You know her?
Yes, I know. Yes.
Amber is a channel of divine love,
Yes.
and she is not, when she becomes like leading people, or in the meditation, this most beautiful thing started happening. So I think the answer to your question is, I'm really doing it because there is an inner calling for me, just like what Baraka was saying. This inner calling happened in the midst of the darkest times in my life. And out of these darkest caves came this infinite light where I could actually express Amber's beautiful meditation. And that actually, just like what Baraka was saying, I have no gifts of my own, but suddenly I became very computer skilled. Everything worked out. Everything that I touched with computers was just becoming into a flowing river
Wow.
without any resistance, because I was not doing it. And that's the answer to your question. It's my calling. Baraka was also saying it. That's why, I feel immense potential there. Like, for example, do people go back to Vicky? I don't think most people go back and dig Vicky's voice out of it. But imagine
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
they do.
Oh,
So
God,
here,
yes.
there will be a very simple way. They click a button. They don't need to go and fish Vicky through YouTube. They go and find out Vicky right there in a convenient way on the storefront of There Must Be a Better Way. Wow, what a beautiful thing. We save time.
I mean, are
Does
you
it answer
saying
your
that you
question,
were
Judy?
quoting what Vicky says?
What?
Are you saying that I'm not quite getting this? I thoroughly enjoy Namaste in the morning because of the interactions, because of the love, because of the connection. I'm not a morning person, but I am bloody well up in time, and I'm on the West Coast, so it's early for me. And so I understand the draw to experience them. I understand that completely. I'm not sure how you're saying that we could bring Vicky into the storefront.
Oh, this is what I volunteer to do. And maybe some people want to help, but maybe not. It's absolutely fine. I volunteer to go to a Namaste Village YouTube channel and go usually near the end when Vicky is talking, and fish from that, her inspiration that comes from her heart, and put it together. It's already recorded, but then it will be just Vicky's, and put it on the Namaste Village website. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Well,
It's already on the Namaste website.
it's already there.
No,
Oh,
no, not the
there.
monastery.
There must be a better way.
There must be a website,
No,
but
if
no,
it brings you pleasure, God bless it.
Yes, and it's one more tool that absolutely.
God bless you on it.
Here's what's really funny. I think that if Vicky were here right now, she would be mortified, absolutely mortified that her words had any life outside of that little tiny period that she's still talking during the morning session.
Oh.
She does not see herself that way at all. So I think this would be a great way to pull her spirit out of those recordings and put them into and to highlight them themselves, because
yeah,
I wholeheartedly agree that what she says in the Namaste sessions is unbelievably enlightening. It is a very bright light. So
And her humor with it, and love, her joy.
yes,
mhm,
It's not just words, yeah.
we agree 100%.
right. But I think that we would be well, at least in the beginning, be well to not mention this to Vicky, because she really, really does not see herself as being.
I will check with Vicky first.
No, because she will tell you not to do it.
Oh
She will
no,
absolutely
I
tell you
cannot
not to do it.
believe
Yes,
This is
she will
crazy.
absolutely tell you not to do it.
Oh,
Not
you
to
know
do it.
Vicky.
Mhm.
Wow. What about, by
She'll
the
be
way,
our guest
Mary Ann?
groups, our
What about
secret
Mary
guest.
Ann amazing recordings that she also sent to people?
Are you talking about Marianne Williamson?
No, Mary Ann from our meetings.
I don't know.
Mary Ann
Also
gives
interested
every
in the
Tuesday
hour that
at
we
3
have
o'clock.
together, that we gain
Oh.
each other's insights too, and not just be pulling in a lot of other folks who are not with us. I mean, a little bit of time, yes, absolutely. But I want to hear what everybody has in their heart that has us gathered here together today.
Uh,
And one
Mary-
thing I hope that we're going to do is read the which is very short, the first aspect on trust, that little short paragraph here of what the course says, the teacher's manual talks about on trust. And yeah.
Right. So Danny, I do not participate in Marianne's call on Tuesday afternoons, so I didn't know who that was. Okay, but Brenda has just put a chat up that says this is she has a Tuesday meeting that and she has a channel, or she is the channel for some information that is put up every Tuesday. Is that correct? Is that your understanding, Danny?
Yes.
Okay. See, I don't participate in that, so I didn't know what it was you were speaking of. Okay.
Well,
But again, however whatever information you're getting from these things, and that you are finding is helping facilitate the understanding of there must be a better way. These things are not copyrighted, I don't believe. So we can go ahead and we can use them, we can quote them, we can reference them in any way possible. And if it turns out that people don't want us to do that, well, they'll let us know.
thank you.
Sort of the idea of ask forgiveness and not permission. So the idea of trust. I trust that whatever guidance we are being given here is, if we listen to it truly with love, that it is going to be the right thing to do. It is absolutely going to be. We cannot make a mistake in this. Salvation is not made up of mistakes. Salvation is made up only of love, and answering love with love, answering fear with love, just answering with love. So whatever form I think I see that love being, that's what I think we should do. Absolutely. Judy, the idea of the section on trust, I was I started actually with the first period, which is called a period of undoing, but I will go back to the actual beginning of the trust section here. Trust. This is the foundation on which their, meaning God's teachers, their ability to fulfill their function rests. Perception is the result of learning. In fact, perception is learning because cause and effect are never separated. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them, but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a forgiven world. When this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strengths again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given them? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? What is it that induces them to make the shift? And the first is a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it usually is so experienced because it's the ego is being shown that the only way this whole thing is going to be successful is if we start giving up the things of the ego, start giving up the things of fear, start start driving the car through the front window and not through the back rear view mirror. It seems as if things are being taken away, and that is really understood initially by their lack of it seems as if things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. I do not need this. I am not in need of these things. These are not worthy of the Son of God. All those things that I think I can lose, that I think I can be without, that I think can be taken away from me, those are all aspects of fear. And as I move away from the idea of fear and replace those with ideas of love, I start losing the idea that I'm losing something. There's only one thing I need to lose, and that is the idea of loss. He is the teacher of God is not yet at a point at which he can make the shift entirely internally, and so the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. In other words, I am going to perceive the fact that I am giving things away, or things are being changed around me. But if I ever fall into the trap that those changes are a loss or are a stealing from me, then it's not going to work. I have to instead acknowledge the fact that what I'm giving up has no value whatsoever, has no value in who I truly am as the perfectly created child of God. When the teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the second stage, which is what we will do next Saturday, the second stage. Judy, does that seem like the idea that you expressed earlier in your letter? And now I think so too. And it certainly makes it a lot more interesting and a lot more easier to swallow. Any other thoughts? Anyone have any?
Just a quick.
Please,
thought.
Danny, go ahead.
The lesson of today is so applicable to that. You know,
What is today's?
I will not be afraid to look within. What do I see inside myself is the light. Through the darkness, through that illusion that I'm so scared, underneath this is this infinite light who we really are. And this is the lesson for today, lesson 309.
309.
I just wanted to connect with the trust. Trust yourself. Trust your inner essence, your beingness. Thank you so much, Baraka, for doing those. Today I bought a lot of stuff with me, and I'm going to share it with my wife now. You know, the store is so rich, so rich. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I would not be anywhere near where I am right now if it weren't for the encouragement of my mighty companions. You are all here to teach me what I've asked to learn. There is no accident that any of you are here except to fulfill the function that I have asked Holy Spirit to teach me. And you are the mighty companions who will teach me this. And I fall on my knees in humble gratitude that you are all willing to do this for me. Thank you very much.
And right
Thank
back
you.
at you, Baraka.
Mirrors. We are all mirrors. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any closing thoughts, anyone? Brenda, hi. Do you have any thoughts about what we've been talking about? You good? Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Shar, how about you? You got anything? Mute.
No, just thank you for,
Oh.
thank you, and trust that this was what we needed to learn today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gail, how about you? Anything? You're muted, Gail. I had to mute you. Sorry. There
Okay.
you are.
Yes. This is exactly how I needed to begin my day because it wasn't beginning this way. It was beginning in fear and, a lot of things going on. And this is exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm very glad that I was able to attend today, and I will try to make room every week because this has brought some insight to me. And
Good.
thank you very much. Thank all of you.
Thank you. Virginia, how about you? Any thoughts?
Not really, except that a storefront offers a variety of things, which, having been a proprietor of a storefront, there's different things for different customers, different things for different people. And a variety is good, but it shouldn't be forced. People should be allowed to choose.
Exactly. Exactly. That in one of my earlier emails, I talked about there being like a McDonald's. There are things on the menu, but you don't go into the McDonald's and expect someone to tell you what to order. We ask every client, as I refer to them, to order off a menu, but the menu is all comes under the label of forgiveness, but there are different ways of approaching that. There's the Big Mac, there's the quarter pounder with cheese, there's the fries, there's the apple pie, all those things. But each one of those things is a way for the client to buy into the idea of being in the storefront.
And being nourished.
And being nourished, yes.
Okay.
Although some would say that maybe the apple pie, not so nourishing, but who knows? We're not going to judge that. All right, well, everyone, I'm going to, as soon as we close this window down, Zoom will start to create the video, and then I will put it up on YouTube, and I will send out that link to that video as soon as it is ready. Thank you all very, very much for being my great teachers in this. Namaste.
And you as well. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Good luck, Danny, on your cyber diving.
Take care. We love you all. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.